Hey, everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going deep on a topic that I know is on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
It's affordable housing, and
Big one.
oh, yeah, it's a big one. And today, we're going to be focusing specifically on Menifee, California.
Okay.
But get this.
Right.
Our source material for this deep dive is a poem. That's right. It's called Rent's Too High in Menifee.pdf.
Interesting.
So, maybe not your typical source material.
I've never analyzed a poem for housing.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think this is going to give us a really unique perspective.
Yeah, definitely a different angle for sure.
Yeah, so this poem, it's likely reflecting, the real anxieties and struggles and frustrations
People, yeah.
that people in Menifee are dealing with when it comes to,
Rent
and just the
cost of living.
cost of living in general.
Yeah.
So why don't we jump right in and see what this poem has to say?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so it starts off, the rent is just too high to pay. My paycheck's gone in just one day. We're working hard, but there's no gain. And all we feel is constant strain.
Woof.
I mean, right off the bat.
Sets the tone.
Sets the tone. This
Yeah.
feeling of being overwhelmed
Absolutely.
by the cost of rent.
And the repetition there too. The rent is just too high to pay.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes that feeling of being stuck.
Yeah, it's almost like
Like a chant?
a chant. Yeah, like you might hear at a
Protest or something.
protest or something. Yeah, and it's written in this way,
It's catchy.
catchy. Yeah,
Easy to remember.
easy to remember, and almost like begs to be shared.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about how art can sometimes
Reflect social movements.
reflect and even maybe fuel social movements.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that connection between? Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about like protest songs throughout history. They
Yeah.
can be so powerful
Absolutely.
because they give a voice to a shared frustration.
Right, they tap into.
And this collective emotion.
This poem might not be on the same level as
Sure.
like Blown in the Wind,
Right.
but it's definitely speaking to something that I think is resonating in Menifee.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the poem goes on to talk about how people are having to cut back on the things we love
Yeah.
because of the high rent. And, this one line really gets me. Families broken, dreams fade away.
That's heavy.
It's heavy. And it just shows you that, this goes beyond just
Financial strain.
financial strain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it speaks to like a deeper impact.
Yeah, like on relationships and
Yeah, and just like
aspirations.
aspirations.
Yeah,
or-
goals in your dreams.
Yeah, and like the human cost of all of this.
Yeah, and for Menifee specifically, the median rent is actually 15%
Wow.
higher than the state average.
That's a lot.
It's a huge strain on residents.
Yeah. So later on in the poem, there's this feeling of just being trapped. We've tried to move, but there's nowhere to go, no place to hide from this financial woe.
It's bleak. Yeah, super bleak.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's not just that rent is high.
No, it sounds like there might just not even be enough housing,
Yeah, and that would just
which would drive the prices up.
drive those prices up even more, and you're just kind of stuck.
Exactly.
So it's not like if rent is too high, you can just go somewhere else.
Right. You're stuck.
You're stuck, and it makes me think, was this a supply issue?
Well, and the data actually backs that up.
Really?
There's been a significant decrease in housing permits issued in Menifees.
So they're not building
Not building as much.
enough,
Yeah, so there's a real shortage of new housing options.
which is going to make that problem even worse.
Absolutely.
So I feel like these last couple lines are like a plea.
Cry for help. Yeah. We're stuck in Menifee, oh Lord.
Yeah, and it really raises the question, what can communities do
Yeah.
to make housing more affordable?
Yeah, it's not enough to just hope that rents are going to go down.
No, it feels like it needs some kind of intervention.
Right, and is that
Yeah.
increasing supply,
Yeah.
regulating rent prices,
Yeah.
exploring alternative models?
Yeah,
Like co-housing,
Yeah.
community land trusts, things
Yeah.
like that?
It's a complicated issue.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, and this poem really brings up some tough questions.
It does, but, even though it's bleak,
Yeah.
I think there's a glimmer of hope.
I see that. Yeah.
Because by expressing these frustrations,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're starting a conversation.
Right.
They're bringing this issue to light.
And maybe demanding better.
Exactly. And this poem is kind of like a call to action.
I like that.
Yeah, it makes us confront this housing crisis
Yeah.
and think critically about how to fix it.
Well, what started out as a deep dive into a poem about rent has turned into something a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that sometimes the most unexpected sources
Yeah.
can lead to really insightful conversations.
Absolutely.
And this poem it gives us this really like raw and unfiltered look into the lives of people who are struggling
Real people.
with housing insecurity and menifee. And it really makes you think, you know, what can we do as individuals and
Yeah.
communities to make sure that everyone
I have one
has
more.
access to safe and affordable housing?
That's the question.
That's the question. And that's something for all of you to think about. So thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See ya.